to the stage our first finalist, LeapFrog Design, from right here in Bend, Oregon. They design and develop and commercialize cost-effective, superior performance, residential rainwater, gray water, and wastewater recycling systems for home builders and building owners. So please take it away, Adam DeHare.
Thank you so much. I am Adam DeHare, co-founder and CEO of LeapFrog Design. And in an era of growing water scarcity, we are using technology inspired by nature to provide water security, flexibility, and abundance for households worldwide, fostering equitable access to safe water and a beautiful, healthy planet. Solving water scarcity is a global problem. Reservoirs across the US and around the world are drying up. Climate change is making this worse, and the cost of water rises year after year. But it's not just a social problem, it's a customer problem. Here in the US, regulations are changing, water prices are going up, and homeowners are being forced to change their lifestyles. They want to save water, they want to save money on their water bill, but they want to keep their green yards without the green guilt. Home builders are trying to meet the needs of those homeowners and strict water efficiency building codes. So they need water efficiency solutions that add comfort and value to their homes, not just extra costs. So fortunately, LeapFrog has identified an opportunity to address these needs. Inside the home, 75% of the water used goes down the drain in sinks, showers, and laundry. That water has been that water lightly used, called gray water, has been treated the same as water going down the toilet, until now. Households typically use as much water inside their homes as they do outdoors. So instead of buying more water to use outdoors, the otherwise wasted gray water can be treated on-site and reused in irrigation and toilet flushing. And this can save households as much as 40% on their water bills. So we've created the first truly green gray water treatment technology for on-site reuse. Our plant-based system is as beautiful as it is functional. The ecological treatment naturally purifies water and adds comfort and value to homes. And the compact module can be easily installed anywhere in the world. And it's not just green, it's smart. So we've used a digital monitoring and control system to provide a fully automated functionality that adapts to homeowners' behaviors like vacation. It tracks water savings, and it detects problems. Not only does it detect problems, it can notify technicians when service is needed. So with our technology, our direct customers, home builders, can increase the individual sale price of homes by $10,000 to $15,000. What's more, they can reduce development costs on new projects by millions of dollars by reducing the standard development cost for connecting to water, buying tap fees and water rights costs. There's also benefits to the community at large. Increasing the centralized treatment passes on high costs to ratepayers, and we can also conserve limited water supply and provide drought resilience to communities. When you consider the benefits to individual homeowners, we can lower your monthly costs by $40 a month. And you get to keep those plants in the big green yard that you love, keeping the comfort without that green guilt. And when you compare our technology to our competitors, the advantage is clear. Why would you buy a Borg cube, this engineering monstrosity, and stick it in your basement when you could have a plant arrangement that you would be happy to share with your neighbors and be proud to own and have in front of your home? So as you can see, we stack up really strong against our competitors. Our technology is as beautiful as it is functional. It costs less than competitors. We can provide equal and superior treatment, and it requires less maintenance. And we will maintain this competitive advantage with our US patents and trade secrets that cover our ecological treatment process, our monitoring, control, and telemetry system. And we also have key industry partners in manufacturing and distribution and key customers in our home building industry. Furthermore, we're recognized as leaders in the field. Veolia Suez, one of the largest wastewater treatment companies in the world, recently identified us as one of the top 5 gray water treatment options in the entire world. So to generate revenue, our treatment system is sold directly to home builders and is installed in new construction. And then home builders are able to recover those costs in an increased home sale price. What's more, a service contract can be billed to the homeowner or an HOA, and those fees come back to LeapFrog as recurring revenue. The market for on-site gray water treatment is vast, both domestically and internationally. At first, our focus will be here in the US. Sales will begin next year with market pilots in Oregon and California. We have a 30-unit project going with Providence Medical up in Milwaukee with some other projects in the pipeline. And we will expand on our western beachhead with supplying WaterSense labeled home builders like KB Home. And then we're going to expand to serve all the production builders in the US and beyond. So in order to scale quickly, we have built these key relationships with both manufacturers and customers. So the 6th largest home builder in the country, KB Home, they're building over 11,000 homes a year, and leading WaterSense labeled home building. They're eager to be our first high volume customer, and to be able to deliver on that scaled up demand, we have a original equipment manufacturing partnership with Arenco Systems. So beyond the market forces that are driving market pull for this technology, federal and state laws and bills are restricting water use and will also drive adoption. So if you take, for example, municipal building codes in states like Arizona, California, they're already requiring separate gray water plumbing and on-site treatment. So I'm Adam DeHeer. I've been in the residential landscape industry for over 15 years and was running a successful design build firm before I began LeapFrog. And I co-founded with Nicholas Soon out here, who's our head of product, and he's a nationally recognized designer who's been transforming R&D milestones with his team into a product that people really love. To date, we've had a number of accomplishments. We've raised over $330,000 in non-dilutive funds with support from the National Science Foundation's SBIR program and Business Oregon. We participated in Virtue Labs' Cascadia Clean Tech Accelerator, where we were awarded the Customer Discovery Award for over 150 customer discovery interviews. And we've also been invested in by Elevate Capital and their GAP 2 fund. And we have our sales plan for next year. However, with the coverage we've been receiving in the Bend Bulletin, we've been contacted by Neil Construction and are looking to start some projects this year. As you can see, we are a high growth potential company with our revenue coming from builders, so we'll have bulk sales and recurring revenue. And we are raising money to grow our team to be able to roll out in our beachhead next year. We're also looking for additional strategic partners in green building and new residential construction. Thank you so much, and I open up for questions.
Great, thanks, Adam. And while we're waiting for our first few questions to come in on Menti, can you talk a little bit about the capacity of your devices? Is this something that can really only work for single-family homes, or does it have multifamily home or commercial applications as well?
So that's something that we're really excited about. That's really one of the innovative aspects of our product, is that it's modular. So one module can serve a single-family home. If you have a larger family, you can go up to 2 modules. If you're doing multifamily, then you can just scale up the number of modules to serve the number of people that you're needing to serve.
Fantastic. I think it's such a great idea. My neighbors are actually trying to start up a Christmas tree farm, but they don't have water rights, and so they're having to use gray water from their roof, and I think they could really use something like this. Can you talk a little bit about what the training is going to look like? Do you have people who are all ready to install these? Will you have to scale up in terms of skills for plumbers and others who are going to be doing the work?
Right. So in the very beginning, we'll be doing that in-house. As we go into our first phase of expanding, we'll have certified service technicians. It's a very simple system. Any landscape technicians that's doing your regular maintenance for your irrigation system or for your home garden can be trained to be able to maintain our system.
Fantastic.
Adam, this is so cool. It's so cool.
We're pretty excited about it.
I have lots of questions. I'm also ready to just shut down the day. I think you did it. Does this work in all climates?
Yeah, so we're focusing on our beachhead of California because it's year-round irrigation potential, but it does work in all the USDA zones 5 through 10. So another big market is in Colorado. We need to be able to perform in places that do have freezes throughout the winter. And so it is sized to be able to be efficient in a cold weather climate and then overperforms during the summer.
Okay, can I pick my plants?
You can pick your plants, yeah. So that's one of the beauties of the system is that it is a blend between the traditional constructed wetland that's used in wastewater treatment and hydroponics. So the combination of the unique module and the filtration media allows for you to select different plant palettes based upon your preferences and your location in the country.
Oh, that is just so fun. Okay, so this is just going a little bit deeper into that. Wetland plants are difficult for residential customers to keep alive, and you're using them to degrade residential waste. How will you address plant health and replacement, and also the resulting depression that happens when you kill a plant? I've heard that's a thing. I don't know.
So one of the things that's probably not very well known about gray water is it's got 2 of the 3 really important plant nutrients in it, phosphorus and nitrogen. So when you stick our plants on an effluent stream like gray water, they thrive. The pictures that you saw in the slide presentation are actual pictures of our gray water treatment system. They have not had any problem with any of the gray water effluent, and they tend to be very successful. So if you are experiencing any kind of browning of any of the plants, that's when you can contact a service technician and the plant would be easy to replace. But we have not had any experience with any plants not performing well.
And then you just advise your clients to adjust something in their diet, maybe. Okay, is this for new homes only, or can it be added to existing homes? Looks like you have retrofit capabilities.
We are able to do it as a retrofit. That market isn't as quickly as it's not as fast of a scaling opportunity because of some of the upfront costs and replumbing a home. So a home is either on a slab, has a crawl space, or has a basement. So if you're on a slab, that redoing the gray water plumbing is more expensive, but if you have a crawl space or a basement, then yes, replumbing your gray water plumbing to be able to accommodate a system is definitely possible.
It's amazing. I mean, I'm thinking of my landlord has 27 properties. Something like this would be amazing. They pay our water bill, which is also awesome. But this is a real consideration for multi-property owners.
Absolutely.
Capacity of cleaned water storage tank. What is the capacity?
Right. So you've probably heard of rainwater capture and storage. So you have to have these immense cisterns to be able to capture all the water during the rainy season than to be able to use it in the dry season. And the beauty of gray water is that you don't have to have these huge cisterns to store the water because you're producing the water that you're going to be using just in the same day or the same week. So our storage containers are between 200 and 500 gallons. They can be kept in the crawl space, in a basement, or buried underground.
Adam, this is just incredible. I'm so excited for you all. Thanks for creating this, and wonderful pitch.
Great.
Good luck to you.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, now on to our second impact company this morning, Skip Technologies from Portland, Oregon. They are developing a novel flow, low-cost battery for use in utility-scale energy storage, focusing on solar, wind, and waves production facilities. So please welcome Ben Brown.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ben Brown. I'm here with Skip Technologies. We're an energy storage development company. I'm here with my friend, business partner, and CEO, Brennan Gantner, who's in the audience. And we want to tell you a story today about a market, about problems that need to be solved within it, and the innovations that are going to come to change how we approach power and energy usage in our world. So let's start by talking about the market that we're going to be at here. The energy storage market in the US alone, the long-duration storage market, is a nascent market, but even as a nascent market, it's about $750 million a year right now. It's growing about 30% year on year, and it's broadly served by a fairly poorly scaled and expensive product as the current industry leader within it. We're aware of the need of energy storage from all of the different ways that variable renewable power is coming onto the grid. You're probably well aware with solar power, right? The sun shines in the middle of the day, but you want some power at night when you're making dinner, heating your house, turning on the lights. How do you take the sunlight from the middle of the day and shift it to later in the night? This problem also exists for wind, where you now have variable, spiky, intermittent power from strong gusts coming through, but it also exists for other types of power. Wave power is becoming a big thing, especially here in Oregon. Waves continue to provide power in the middle of the night. How do you take that power and move it now to the middle of the day when you want to run it to run factories and businesses? All of these are addressed by energy storage, and especially long-duration energy storage, by which I mean capacities of 6 to 12 hours or even multiple days of energy and resiliency. And as some of you have seen with wildfires in California or winter storms in Texas, sometimes the grid goes down and you might need multiple days of potential storage to be resilient against those disruptions. The current industry leader is lithium-ion technology. And it's a good entry point. And basically all storage right now that is coming onto the market is chemical energy storage. So there's a Tesla mega pack on the side. And these mega packs, they're actually built up of little individual cells, like this AAA cell I've got in my pocket here. There are thousands, tens of thousands, millions of these cells chained together. That's got real manufacturing problems. They have well-known fire problems for some of the chemistries. But they also have supply chain problems. You're competing for rare earth metals, resources, and you're also competing against all of the luxury products that need lithium ion in particular for portable electronics and for vehicles. You're competing against every smartphone purchaser, every Mac laptop purchaser. You're competing against Tesla, Volkswagen, Audi, BMW. That market is going to get more and more constrained as the EV revolution comes on, where lithium ion is really the only viable solution. So what do you do instead for large-scale energy storage? Well, chemical energy storage still ends up being probably the best way to do it. And when you go to chemical energy storage, I think the most exciting technologies are the flow battery technologies. These are ones where you store large volumes of chemicals in tanks, you combine them together in a cell in the center to release energy. That gives you your electricity. You can reverse the entire electrical reaction to recharge your system. These are very interesting. Their costs are dominated by things like their cell and their tanks. And tanks are something that we as a society are very good at building. The bigger they get, in a sense, the cheaper they get per unit that you're storing. They use resources that aren't in this race against lithium for commodity prices. For example, we're going to talk to you about a hydrogen and bromine battery. The main commodity market for bromine is injection into fields for agriculture. That's a cheap commodity market overall compared to expensive consumer objects. The most interesting thing about these batteries is that their power and their energy are decoupled, so you can tailor an energy storage system for a particular use. Lithium ion gives you about 2 to 4 hours of storage per unit. If you want 12 hours of storage, you buy yourself 4 to 6 such units. For us, if you want 12 hours of storage, we build you bigger tanks. If you only want 2 hours of storage, it's smaller tanks. So they can be scaled in an independent way that matches a need. A real problem in these systems is that at the very heart of the battery is a membrane, a thin separator that keeps the chemicals apart as they're in the middle of their reaction. The things this separator has to meet are very challenging. They have to be thin, chemically resistant, cheap, and basically last forever, because they're right in the heart of the battery. So it's very hard to disassemble the battery and service them. At Skip Technology, we've come up with a solution for these membranes, a way of making a membrane that lasts longer, that separates the chemicals well, and that doesn't require maintenance. This is a real unlocking technology. It allows these flow batteries to be used with far more aggressive chemicals, which store far greater energy densities than has been viable to the present. For our batteries, this is projecting costs that are less than about a third of lithium ion's forward projected reduced costs, not where it is now, but where lithium ion is supposed to be in about 5 years. And it's really this that's the heart of our IP, the secret sauce, how to do this within the cell of a system. We're looking here at community-sized storage. Our target is sort of shipping container-sized objects, so we're thinking 20-foot shipping containers. These are the smaller things you see on the roads on the back of trucks. One of these would provide about 100 kilowatts of power, and our first generation would have about a megawatt hour of storage. That's about 10 to 12 hours of continuous power delivery. And that means that you could power about 30 American homes for about a day. These are vertically stackable, and they can be deployed across an area. So, you get 10 of these together, and you're serving an airport and maybe a surrounding community, small airport, regional airport. And you can scale it up from there. At Skip Technology, we've got an experienced team. My friend and business partner, Brennan, is a reformed rocket scientist. He is a serial clean tech entrepreneur. And within Skip Tech, he leads our prototype development as well as our business development. I'm Ben Brown. I'm our Chief Technology Officer. I am a reforming professor. That's my day job. I'm our fluid dynamics expert, and I come up with ideas for our prototypes and help us pursue federal grant opportunities, which we've been successful at. And Dr. Madison McCleary is our chief engineer. She has a background in material science, corrosion in particular, which is very important for these systems, and has worked a lot in solid oxide fuel cells. And she leads our lab work and our prototype testing. Skip's been in business for 4 years. Before we incorporated in 2018, we'd spent about a year and a half doing an exhaustive background search into the IP of the field and sort of the fundamental literature. We have been funded by National Science Foundation grants, like with Adam and LeapFrog. We have a SBIR from the National Science Foundation. We've completed our phase 1 and are awaiting our phase 2. And we've also developed, in that time, substantial business partnerships. We have supply chain partnerships. ICL Industrial Chemicals Limited, major bromine manufacturer worldwide, has provided a lot of materials and expertise to us, including in-kind contributions. WireTough builds bulletproof hydrogen tanks, which is our go-to-market storage solution. We also have marketing and sales partners in rural electric co-ops like Holy Cross Electric in Colorado and Energy2, California Energy Bundler. And we're working on our first patent forthcoming in Q4. Our goal at Skip Tech is to make energy storage cheap enough that you can align economics with environmentalism. You can make storage cheap enough that you can displace existing fossil fuel sources on the grid and lead to power sources that can power our life, our world, our industry in a way that doesn't harm our environment. Thank you, and I'll take questions.
Well done.
Thanks very much, Ben. It is such an important capacity that we need as a nation, as a world, to be able to do the full transition to renewables. I'm curious, so with utilities as your customer, would they need to do any additional modification of their facilities to be able to accommodate your product?
Yeah, so utilities are a very hard first customer. They require a very long time in the field. Our business model is actually to go to their customers, to go to especially large commercial power users, especially in rural locations where they're poorly served by the existing grid. So like Aspen Ski Company, other large power users who are dangling on the end of a long set of power lines where they also can't afford to be cut off. So for those customers, the modifications are minimal. It's like bringing in a solar PV system, some switch gear, sort of typical inverters, things that are off the shelf. Our technology is behind those off-the-shelf interfaces.
You mentioned, I think correctly, the supply chain issues around things like rare earth minerals, but there are supply chain issues now even around storage containers and basic components. What are you seeing in terms of supply chain for the products you need?
For most of the products we need, there are not supply chain constraints at present. We use chemically resistant plastics that are widely available. Shipping containers are a well-known shortage right now. They're not really going to be in 1 to 2 years. Like we're seeing, like, okay, who knows in the current world, right? But like the likelihood of that being a major bottleneck is small. And even in the present world, we can get 10-foot shipping containers delivered to us for a couple $1,000s right now under the current environment. And for us, that's a small cost on the overall system. So.
My first question, Ben, is that a battery in your pocket? No, it's an audience question. Can you explain a bit more about the relationship to the renewable sources of energy you started talking about and your battery tech?
Yeah, so renewable sources, if you just bring them onto a grid, they're kind of doing this all the time. And like different renewable sources do different wiggles through time. Times this way and my arm's going up and down is they're making lots of power or no power. that's got real problems all on its own, right? Like on the one hand, if you just dump that into your grid, when it's a small percentage of the grid, doesn't make a difference. When it's like 20% of your grid, that means your whole grid's going up and then all the way down. That means you start blowing things up and then not providing power when you need to. So you really need energy storage as a buffer to take those big swings out. The way we're used to power is you turn on a switch and light comes, right? You don't go, well, I'll turn it on and like every now and then we'll get light and then it'll go off, then it'll come on, and it'll go off. Right? You want a steady, dependable source of power. And storage broadly smooths those variances, gives you a steady source of power. We've made a lot of progress as a society on 2 to 4 hours of storage, taking like noontime solar to like 6 p.m. time making dinner. Our big step now is to take 10 hours of storage, a whole day of solar generation, and move it so you can cover the night and all of your needs through the day, and then into seasonal and long duration storage, moving your summertime generation to winter. Those are very big problems.
I feel like this is a problem I'm having with my own body, like all of the power, none of the power, now I'm napping. How about, Ben, what are the risks of these devices failing, and if they do, what happens? What does that look like?
So any energy storage is an intrinsically dangerous thing. You put a lot of energy into a volume, and you have a risk that has to be managed there. We're using hydrogen. Ooh, scary, hydrogen. Hydrogen is not that bad. Among other things, it escapes very quickly. If you have a well-ventilated system, it goes up and it's gone. So my kids went to a school in the rural mountains of Colorado for a while. They had a 500-gallon propane tank right next to the school. They went to school every day. That was normal, right? And so we're used to risks in our society and mitigating them. Our danger as a battery system is probably about like a propane tank. We also would choose not to put our battery right next to a school. We think that's a little bit silly to have your giant propane tank right there. It's manageable risks. Our fire risk is probably actually quite low. Again, the hydrogen, it escapes quickly. Bromine is actually used as a fire retardant.
Okay, great. So does the technology consume hydrogen or recycle it in a closed loop?
Yeah, we're doing a closed loop on the hydrogen. It's some of the language that's used here is a rechargeable fuel cell in some of the language of this thing. So you capture the hydrogen after when you create it, and you then put it into the chemistry when you're releasing energy. Happy to talk more about that over coffee.
Well, I think we could probably ask you questions all day, but Ben, thank you so much for joining us. This is awesome and very cool. I knew absolutely nothing about this before, and now I feel like I could talk about it myself. So thank you for joining us, and it's a wonderful pitch.
Thank you for having us here.
This has been so incredibly inspiring so far. Very excited to move on to our third impact company, TENZR Health, from Vancouver, BC. So glad you're able to make it across the border these days. They have intelligent wearable sensors, gamification, and healthcare expertise, providing patients with motivation, guidance, and certainty in their MSK recovery. So here to tell us more about TENZR Health is Lucas Kareem Merhay. I hope I got that right. I'm sorry.
Lucas is fine.
Okay.
Lucas is great. Well, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Thanks for making the time and joining us here today. I flew in from Seattle, so I made it in time. So I spent 4 years doing physical therapy to avoid back surgery, and it was really frustrating and at times depressing. I actually didn't know if I was doing my exercises correctly, if I actually was making any difference at all, and if I actually had a path to recovery. So this is why at TENZR Health, we're all about bringing digital transformation to this $34 billion physical therapy industry, using intelligent wearable sensors, gamification, and healthcare expertise to provide clinicians and patients with motivation, guidance, and certainty in their MSK recovery journey. So think of us as the Peloton of physical therapy. All right. 1 in 2 Americans suffer from muscular pain. And unfortunately, injuries continue to increase due to a sedentary lifestyle and growing aging population. Now, physical therapists do great work and are essential, but the industry is riddled with problems. Wait times are long, now up to 4 to 6 weeks post-COVID, and actually it's getting worse because there's a severe shortage of therapists. But crucially, successful recovery is highly dependent on patients completing their rehab exercises often enough and correctly. And there's just not enough time for the therapist to assess, treat, and retrain proper movement. So patients end up having to do these exercises on their own, leaving them uncertain, demotivated, and unable to recover from pain effectively, which is exactly what I went through. So we solved this using the TENZR Health platform, which combines intelligent wearable sensors. I'm wearing them right here. You can all see it. And if you see me in the hall, please, I'll show you a demo. This is used for motion tracking. Then we use gamification of rehab exercises, and we combine clinical expertise from our clinical partners to solve this issue. So the TENZR's proprietary tracking platforms allows rehab professionals to assess and characterize movement impairments. Then TENZR helps the patient, actually helps them train the patient to do the exercises correctly with real-time instantaneous feedback. And most importantly, these exercises are kind of tedious and difficult to do, so we've gamified them to make them fun and rewarding. We're focused on critical joint injuries due to our proprietary sensing tracking technology, starting with hand, wrist, and elbow pain. So think of conditions like wrist fracture, carpal tunnel syndrome, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, spasticity due to stroke. Clinics subscribe to the TENZR Health service to be used for assessment and treatment within their short rehab sessions in the clinic. And then TENZR kits are sent home with the patient for a per-patient fee. We're currently in a private pay model in BC, Canada, but in the US, we're really excited because we're finally reimbursable due to the latest reimbursement codes, remote therapeutic monitoring, which will make the service free for patients, and actually therapists and clinicians can actually get paid to monitor their patients' data, approximately 20 minutes of that data a month. Now, we just had a limited launch in BC with one primary goal of operationalizing TENZR within the clinical workflow, and as well building a body of evidence for showing its efficacy. And I'm happy to share that 5 out of 6 patients have now been fully treated, and we have many more ongoing treatment at the moment. And what does it really mean for the patient? Well, for a patient like me, it means I know what to do to get better. I get feedback if I'm doing it correctly, and I'm actually having fun because of the gamified exercises. And for therapists, they actually are receiving actual performance data, which helps them monitor compliance and adjust treatment protocols accordingly. Our next step is to enter the US market with established partnerships with hand surgeons and physical therapists at institutions like UCSF, Stanford, and the Mayo Clinic. So when it comes to our competition, the real competition is the status quo, is that piece of paper you get with exercises on it, or that video app with exercise on it that doesn't provide feedback, data, or guidance. And it's really important to mention there are other digital health startups here. This is not a comprehensive list. We have a much more comprehensive competitive analysis available for people interested in learning more about us. But in the meantime, these companies are focused on preventing back and knee pain from worsening to the point that it needs physical therapy or surgical interventions. Our key differentiators are we allow you to reach your fullest possible recovery. In other words, the ability to assess and measure beyond range of motion, which is very important. And 2, gamification of rehab exercises to make it fun and engaging. And lastly, we have a tracking technology that allows us to track critical joints better than anyone out there, which really enables the clinicians to assess, track, and characterize movement impairments. So, quick look at our revenue projections. We're looking to treat 2,000 patients in year 1 of commercial launch and adding at least 60 therapists to the platform, which will then trigger us raising our Series A to scale TENZR beyond that. When it comes to the team, and there's a bit of formatting going on here, that's all good, we can scale with authority and quickly because of our expertise in digital health, wearable technologies, go-to-market experience in physical medicine, and scaling and exiting medical device startups. I'm a serial entrepreneur with experience in healthcare and consumer wellness packaged goods. My co-founder, Gautam, led and scaled product development at a Class 3 medical device company called Lung Pacer Medical through their seed, Series A, and IDE approval through FDA's Breakthrough Devices program. Our Chief Marketing Officer, Gabriel Gugo, has over 25 years of go-to-market expertise taking physical medicine products like TENZR from launch to 100 million in annual revenue at companies like Cool Systems, Alter G, Photo Systems, and I'm blanking here, Photo and Life Glider. We also have a fractional CFO and a comprehensive board of advisors composed of experts in hand surgery, physical therapy, life science commercialization, and serial entrepreneurs with multiple exits under their belt. So we've already raised $3.2 million US to date, and now we're looking to raise $5 million to fund scaling and US market entry. I'm actually here today looking for value-add investors to join this round and help us scale. And we believe there are numerous exit opportunities for the investors, most likely around M&A in 3 to 5 years, with either consumer medical companies or digital health companies looking to expand their PT offering. So, in summary, here's how we win. We've already generated $280,000 in pre-commercial revenue by selling TENZR for clinical trial use to key opinion leaders. Our patient satisfaction stands at 9.1 out of 10. And we're already treating our first dozen commercial patients. We have secured partnerships that'll help us drive adoption, and we have a healthy pipeline of clinics to partner with. Our preliminary clinical data is very promising. So join us in our journey to help to empower patients throughout their recovery, democratize access to physical therapy, reduce re-injury rate, and reduce dropout rate, and lead to faster recovery. Thank you.
Thanks very much for a great presentation. So with any kind of sensors, there's always a concern about data privacy, particularly when it comes to sensors collecting medical data.
Yeah.
How are you addressing that issue?
Perfect. So the data we measure is practically hand motion and hand, wrist, and elbow motion. The data is encrypted when it arrives to the app. And as well, if any data is transmitted between the patient and the clinician, we use cloud HIPAA-based compliance through MedStack, which is part of our infrastructure. So it's all kind of taken care of that way. Yeah.
What is the user interface like? I know I've done physical therapy, and in the clinic, I find that I'm often the youngest person there by quite a bit. And,
yeah.
So how easy is this technology to use, especially for people who maybe haven't grown up with, tablets and Apple Watches and whatnot?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We started in stroke rehab, so an elderly aging population. First, very hard to put anything on, so we made it super easy to put on the wearables. It literally takes 2 seconds. Everything's connected automatically, and onboarding for you to get into the app is done within, unfortunately I don't have a slide to show you, but I will love to show you maybe after the, over lunch potentially. But practically most of our patients to date are 50 plus, 60 plus, and have been using it quite well and being fully treated. So we keep improving that UI UX, but it's seamless at the moment, I would say. Yeah.
Lucas, where can I sign? This is incredible. This is a huge development. So the question from the audience is, does TENZR improve compliance because patients know that their clinicians can see them, whether they're actually doing their exercises? And you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I think that's secondary. Actually, the gamification of the rehab exercises, the ability to measure your progress over time is actually what's increased compliance. So to give everyone a bit of a sense, only 15% of patients traditionally comply to rehab, 20% of patients drop out of physical therapy within their first 3 sessions, and 70% don't even complete rehab altogether. And with our patients right now, just to give you a flavor, 5 out of 6 fully treated, and we have another, and out of the 12 that we've onboarded this summer, 2 on trial, 9 subscribed, 1 dropped out, 5 fully treated, and the rest are ongoing treatment. So compliance has been really high.
This is amazing.
So far. Obviously, those numbers will change with a larger set.
Course.
But the gamification is super engaging, and then the ability to measure progress day over day, week over week, it gives people that certainty that they're getting better.
Feeling better is a great
yeah.
motivator.
And then so the therapist monitoring them, that hasn't been the driver yet.
Okay.
I would say.
Is there any reason this couldn't also be used by occupational therapists?
Oh, it is being used by occupational therapists. So we work with OTs, hand therapists specifically, and physical therapists, hand surgeons, PMR docs. Those are all the clinicians we work with. Yeah. And so to give some people in the audience, depending on who asked that, OT typically deals with neurological conditions, so that is like spasticity due to stroke or spinal cord injury, which we can help with, and then upper extremity or orthopedic conditions as well. And the therapists who specialize in that are typically called hand therapists, so we work closely with them.
So the question is, does the sensor vibrate or shake, like real-time performance feedback, or is it specifically just in measurement?
We have haptic feedback as well. Yeah, so it does vibrate if necessary. You can enable it or not. So it's one of the biofeedback modalities.
It could talk to you. It could be like, not that way, just a little.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I apologize. So yes, haptics is available in the device, and it can be used as one modality for biofeedback.
So cool. So why is gamification a benefit? Do you see this as being a deterrent to those who did not grow? So this was a question Rachel had. Are you seeing any pushback on the gamification portion of this?
Yeah, so one patient dropped out because Tensor wasn't a fit for them, and it wasn't about the games, more or less. It was about they were just not as comfortable with technology overall. And gamification, so all the games that we developed are actually traditional, really traditional, kind of the first games that ever came out, like Pong, Brick Breaker, Helicopter. So for an aging population, we made sure that it's nostalgic for them to play it, and for the people in, yeah, no, seriously, and you should see them. They're laughing and engaged. And I'm happy to share video testimonials.
Can I make a Tetris request?
Sorry?
Can I request Tetris?
Only if it's therapeutic. So, there's a lot of competitors, they just, for marketing on their website, they show games. But if you actually know what we do, they're not therapeutic at all. So they're actually not using gamification. I've had to put it in there because if you go to their website, it shows it, but it's not therapeutic. So.
Sorry to hear it. Can you discuss the regulatory strategy for both Canada and US?
Yeah, so in Canada, we've already received what we call a medical device establishment license. So we are a Class 1 510K exempt device, very low risk. And we already have a regulatory assessment, and we should be FDA registered by end of the year.
Lucas, this is just incredible. I think the burden it will remove from our physical therapists alone is worth pursuing. So thank you so much for inventing this. It's incredible, very inspiring, and great pitch.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. As a mother of a student athlete who spends way more of her time than necessary trying to get my kid to do her PT, I am excited about this. Moving on to last but not least, our final company in the impact track, and I just lost my place, sorry, is UV Health Group from Hillsboro, Oregon. They design and produce the Safe Air UV system to eliminate 99.99% of airborne viruses, like everyone's favorite COVID-19, from indoor rooms while people are in the room. So welcome to the stage, Paul Salzinger.
Thank you very much, and we're thrilled to be here and honored to be a finalist. My name is Paul Salzinger. I'm one of the founders of UV Health Group. Let me jump right in. We've got a lot of material to cover. Everybody in this audience and around the world now knows what the pandemic has done to the world. Businesses, elder care facilities, schools. The media has done a really great job of educating people that viruses are in the air. They hang around for 4 to 6 hours in the air, and they can infect people. So people are nervous, like maybe some people were last night, about being indoors with unmasked people, vaccinated or not. And those problems persist, and the ramifications of those problems are, school closures, people leaving elder care. There's a big need right now to make sure that air is clean indoors. And this is not going away. The current solutions out there are really not very effective. Opening windows, a bit silly. It'll move the air, but it won't do anything with a virus. The HVAC systems out there move air too quickly for any UVC inline system to actually affect any of the pathogens moving through those systems. HEPA filters really only capture the largest of the particles. Coronavirus has particles far smaller than can be caught in HEPA filter systems, which now broadcast those even further through how they move their air. There's a couple of new technologies out. Far UVC is a low wavelength, 222 nanometer UVC light that they are showering over people indoors. And there's not been enough testing. It's only been tested with really with lab rats. And it's not a technology that's being adopted really anywhere very quickly. Upper air UVC is really only treating the air at the ceiling. So this is a huge market. And one of the things we've learned in our research is it's growing much faster than we even thought when we started the company and started development of our system 18 months ago. Just getting a small portion of a $5 billion industry could put us on the map as a very nice acquisition target, if you will. So what our company did was we invented the Safe Air UV system. It is a chamber that pulls room air into the chamber. Inside that chamber, it's filled with UVC LED chips, not mercury vapor bulbs. All of that air is exposed to the UVC, all of the pathogens. It doesn't matter what it is, flu, measles, COVID, any virus can be inactivated through our system, and then we exhaust that air with another fan back into the room. And we've built this Safe Air UV system into a number of products. Some of the key attributes are the efficacy that we have gone to, and I'll show you a little bit about our testing. Having 99.9996 efficacy is really the best in the industry that we have seen so far. We've come at this from a science basis. The early prospects we talked to, because everything's invisible, can't see the light, can't see the virus, they ask, how do we know it works? The only way to really prove that is to produce lab results that they can actually verify from a reputable lab. We're using LEDs. 99% of the products on the market today using UVC are using UVC mercury vapor bulbs, which not only need to be changed out every 6 to 9 months, someone's got to get on a ladder to do that, raising maintenance fees, and then those end up in a landfill, which nobody really is very excited about. So we went to the University of Missouri's infectious disease lab, where they're one of the only places in the country that can aerosolize the SARS-CoV-2 virus, the cause of COVID-19. We put our system inside their glove box chamber, filled that chamber with 100,000 doses in the air of the COVID virus, and literally within seconds, we took it to below a detectable amount, which means you can't get sick with the air coming out the other side. And efficacy really matters. When people say, oh, we're 99% or 99.9%, there's a whole chunk of virus that's still not getting affected. We are at the very top of that list with 5 nines, and really proud of the fact that we know this system can take care of the COVID virus specifically. So we built our Safe Air UV system into 2 product lines. You can see the lights on the corners of the stage. Every room where people gather, there is lighting. Our system can be integrated and is integrated into the most standard lighting fixture available, which is a 2x4 drop ceiling troffer, which goes into literally any lobby, any conference room, classroom. You're going to find these everywhere. And our system is built directly into this fixture. We also have a standalone, which is the unit up here on my left, which is our assurance line, which is just air purification and no lighting, downlighting component. Our downlighting component, most businesses are starting to and have been upgrading to LED lighting, much better, much more ecological, better for people to have these kinds of color tunable lights. We have a number of fixtures that we have designed and filed for patents on. Our assurance units, today we've got a 4-foot unit that can be mounted on a wall or hung from a ceiling. And we've got a 2x2 under development right now, which can also get dropped into a ceiling in really most environments. Everything we build is Bluetooth connected. It's for not only control but monitoring. We have great sensors for humidity and temperature and voltage. All of that is reported up to the cloud so that smart building management systems can also really take more control over the air in their spaces, not just lighting or heating or air conditioning. We have filed for patents 18 months ago. There was no prior art we could find that was cleaning air with LEDs in a chamber, and we've got a number of future designs already in the patent, and we should know by May of next year whether or not we'll be awarded those patents. There are a few competitors doing similar type products, small companies. Almost all of them are using HEPA filters, which again need to be changed out, just like UVC bulbs. They don't catch everything, and we believe we have a really strong competitive advantage using LEDs and not having HEPA filters involved in the systems. Our go-to-market strategy, we're initially targeting 3 essential markets: healthcare, urgent care, elder care, and schools. These are places where people have to go, you don't really have a choice. And we're also going to be using, most of our sales will come from a dealer channel. Dealers and distributors already have all of those businesses as customers. They're looking for another product to take them, and what better product than a product that can now take care of the air in their facilities. We've built out the website and all the sales tools, and we're really ready to go to market. We believe that we've got a fast growth company. We're going to do hopefully $5 million next year in revenue, and growing very rapidly after that as we expand our channel and as this unfortunate endemic or pandemic or next variant comes around and people continue to keep it top of mind for having to clean facilities. We already have a few dealers that are taking us to customers today, some small customers, some very large customers, big franchise groups, et cetera. Our team is assembled. We have a terrific set of folks, both on the science and the design side, as well as the supply chain side. We've got head of our supply chain based in Singapore, bringing in critical parts from Asia, and we're doing all of our assembly here in Oregon. We've spent 18 months building the products. We've got a small amount of funding already in-house, about $450,000 raised so far. We're raising $3 million on a convertible note today. Invite others to join us on that journey. And we believe that we are ready to go. We have everything in line, ready to go now. We're really just waiting for some funding to be able to hit the go button and start really aggressively marketing. We're ready to hit that go button in about 30 days. So the impact is kids are going to stay in schools, elder care folks are going to be taken care of, healthcare workers are going to have safer places, and ultimately, let's go save some lives. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think the need for this product speaks for itself. I am curious about some of the operations of it. How big of a room are these air handlers able to deal with? Are these actually fixing everything in this room? Does it need to be more tightly sealed? Can you, put multiple devices in a single room?
Yes, yes, and yes. So these units are not cleaning this space. An average conference room, maybe 10 by 20 feet, 2 of these lighting units will change out the air and keep it clean about every 30 minutes. It's really about air changes per hour, and our system has adjustable fans so we can literally adjust for the room size. We don't work in really high ceilings because the cubic feet of air is too much. We don't have units for that. We did some early work with United and Delta, and we weren't worried about the cabin. We were worried about the bathrooms, the galleys, and the cockpits, smaller type air spaces. But general offices, schoolrooms, classrooms, all of those are ready for our systems, and not too many units to get it done.
Okay, but bad vibes. Can it turn bad vibes into good vibes? Is that like airplanes, elevators, places people go on dates? I mean, this has really got a good application. When will your first units be commercially available, and how many units can be sold the first year?
The units are available today. We have funded through some investment and all of our founder funding to have 100 units in the warehouse ready to be delivered. We've already got 6 customers installed and working and happy and expanding to other parts of their facilities. So we're ready to go, and the units are ready to be delivered. We just need more capital to build more and get the rest of the business off the ground.
This is so cool. I literally wrote an article on air purifiers just last night, and UV has been problematic because it's a passive source, right? So you've really taken this to like the level where it deserves to be. This is very cool. What is the cost of one lighting unit?
So manufacturer retail price for these 2x4 troffers is around $1,500. The unit that is just the purification, the assurance unit, the 4-footer is about $1,200. There's certainly some volume discounts available, and we have a dealer program that affords them a 25% discount to go to market.
Are you looking for influencers?
Yeah, and if anybody has rooms that need to be done, just let us know. If you don't want to invest but you want your rooms cleaned, we'll do that too.
So these are like not making any sort of noise at all. When you're really looking to clear a room, does the noise go up quite a bit?
It's really no more than, a PC or a laptop fan. You can kick the fans up to move more air. We actually jack up the UVC power, so we're actually cleansing more and faster. And it's really adjustable by the customer, and it's the dB that we're running in a room is not going to be distracting at all.
It's soothing, actually. I find it, I feel fresher even.
Well, if you know you're breathing clean air is a good thing.
It sure is. Are you doing any sort of research to see, like, are these emitting any sort of radiation to people? Are the, UVC is a pretty scary radiation level. So are you looking into that part, the EMFs, this type of thing? I'm assuming you're getting these questions.
We worked on that a long time ago. We knew that no UVC light could be emitted from this system and have us have a good, healthy product. So all of the design has been tested. We're working on our FDA approval, and the FDA absolutely will have no UVC, emitting from any unit. So we've got both our testing done, the lab testing done, and soon the FDA testing will confirm that we've actually got that right.
Amazing. Okay, one last question. What is the biggest risk to your success?
Having enough capital to get out to the market fast enough to save enough lives.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much. This is just awesome.
Thank you, everybody.